Welcome, everybody. Another Thursday, another open diner. I hope you're ready for a really good night. We have a great venue tonight. We have a topic is contagious emotions. And this is going to be a camera event. So if anybody has their camera off, please put it on. You'll see in a few minutes why we want it that way. So, um, one thing also, Elise is going to start us off about the mute buttons and the different chat options that we're going to be using tonight. So, Elise, if you want to take it away.
Yeah, I have to unmute myself first before I start talking. So we want to remind everyone where the mute button is located. It's important because it is on different devices at different locations. So just to make sure that you keep it mute, off, that you are muted during the event unless um, the host is asking you, please unmute yourself. So Rona will show us great slides that we will um, you will see on the, if you're connected on the computer. Here is the blinking red circle that indicates the location of the mute button, and right now it is in the mute position because there is a diagonal red line across the mic. That is on computer. If you are connected on the laptop, it is on the top. You can see the mute button right here, the blinking red circle around the button, and it is muted. So it is right now in a muted position. So please check it that it's for the most part is in a muted position. And we also want to tell you that there is a chat button, and we would like you to open the chat and be and check, periodically, because there will be question posted on the chat. So here is, if again, if you're connected on your computer, so that's where the chat button is, the red blinking circle around this chat button. And if you are connected on the iPad, it is, if you see the three dots, you need to first open the list. Yes, where the three dots, blinking circle, and then when you open it, the first option is the chat. So the chat button, you open the chat and you will be aware of everything that's going on, the important information. Roberta, please take it over.
Amazing. Thanks, Elisa. Okay, so we know tonight the topic is contagious emotions. So you're probably saying, how do we come up with this? Well, we do it every day. We don't even realize half the time when we're actually contagious with our emotions. Scientists have studied that in our brain we have something called mirror neurons. Excuse me, mirror neurons, and they're constantly mimicking everything we see. So let's say someone's yawning, and all of a sudden you're watching someone yawn, and you start getting tired, and sometimes you even yawn. Or if you see somebody doing something and they're happy, I know myself, I see it, and something inside me gets happy, or even anger. We see that's happening on the news. People get crazy, and other people are getting crazy by watching. That has to all do with these mirror neurons. Um, Something else that is very interesting, they were saying that you could actually get this by doing this online. Facebook did a study with 100 million people that were on Facebook, and they took 1 billion actual texts, and they showed that emotions can actually be contagious by online social networks. So even without face-to-face interaction between people, we're still affected by what we're reading, what we're seeing, and what we're feeling. So you can see we're very connected by just looking at each other. And that's an important thing. I'm going to try something here. Let's see how this works. And for someone who doesn't like to be looked at, I'm going to ask you to watch me. That's where we wanted the cameras on. Watch me for 1 minute, and I'm going to be smiling, and try not to smile. And then we'll discuss it after how you felt and everything like that. So Rana's going to put a little music on, so make it not so awkward. So watch me and try not to smile. Okay, Rana, whenever you're ready. was a minute. My face started hurting. Well, okay. All right. So we're going to do a round. Whoever wants to speak, just give your feeling. What'd you feel? Were you able, did you feel like you wanted to laugh or smile or give your impression of what we just did there? And let's see what anybody go. We'll do popcorn style. Won't call on anybody. So whoever would like to say something first, please do.
Well, I
I think
wanted to smile. And when you started moving, I wanted to move.
I was the first one to lose it. I couldn't, I like to smile. So sorry.
I started smiling, knowing all the extra effort that you were putting into maintaining your smile made me smile.
I tried to refrain. Go ahead. Go ahead.
I had no self-control. I started smiling right away. It was kind of like telling us not to look at the pink elephant in the room. And it was just impossible not to smile. And Roberta, you have a very contagious smile.
Anybody else want to add?
Yeah, it's like I was smiling inside. It's like don't think of the elephant, and the first thing you do is think of the elephant. Like, don't smile. Like, I could not help it. It was very difficult not to smile.
Oh. All right. I thought Evan was going to say something. That's what I was waiting. You look like you were going to click the thing. Well,
yeah, I was about to. I was late, and I really wanted to be with you. So I decided that I'm gonna watch you on a Facebook, and I clicked the wrong link, and I'm here on a Zoom with you. So I start smiling when I realize that I'm on a Zoom and I cannot stop. So till now, thank you so much, and it was amazing exercise. You cannot not to smile back, especially to your smile, Roberta.
well, thank you. Well, that was just a little taste of what we're going to do tonight. So we see we have emotions that are contagious. It's scientific. It's in our brain. We're wired with this. So now we're going to have a song by Patrice. Now we all have to start singing. No, I'm kidding. We're not that kind of era, but we have Patrice, our great musician, is going to play a song for us. And take it away, Patrice.
Okay, thanks. So it was fun picking a song according to this theme. I'm first singing a song called "I'm Glad There Is You," which is typically a love song, a romantic love song, but I can definitely think of at least a good friend or two in my pocket that this song applies to. You know, in a world of overrated treasures and underrated pleasures, I'm glad there is you. So, you know, when you have the right people around, I'm sure that smile can stay in perpetuity. All right. Said I many times, love is an illusion, a feeling result of confusion, with knowing smile and blase sigh, a cynical so and so am I feel so sure, so positive, so utterly unchangeably certain, though I never was aware of loving you, till suddenly I realized there was love in you. And in this world of ordinary people, extraordinary people, I'm glad there is you. In this world of if you'll guide me through. In this world where many, many play at love and hardly any stay in love, I'm glad there is you. More than ever, I'm glad there is you.
Beautiful. Thank you, Patrice. Okay, so I see we're just gonna, if you've been here before, we have a lot of friends that have been here more than a couple times. This is our actually 16th show, if anybody was wondering. But I see some new faces that haven't been here before. If you're new, just state where you unmute yourself and say where you're from and your name. That'd be nice to get to know some new people.
Hi, I'm Jenna, and I'm from Chicago, Illinois.
Hi, Jenna.
Hi. Oh, somebody else is talking. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
To say, tell Jenna that I'm also from Chicago. Hi, Jenna.
Hi.
Go ahead, David.
Hi, I'm Dave Clark. I'm from Los Angeles. Really, really fun to be here.
Hello, my name is Mary. I'm from Albuquerque, New Mexico. Great to be here.
Is that it? I think so. Well, we're great everybody's here. We have our great friend Gary is going to lead us into an icebreaker, which is always fun. Go ahead, Gary. It's all yours.
Hi, nice to see everybody. We got some ice to break here, so it's because it's always so cold and frigid. Nice to see Dr. Marlene and Brandon here. Hi, guys. Always great to see all of you guys. Look forward to it every week. So we're going to do a little icebreaker, get to know each other a little bit. For you know, the ones who are regular here, we kind of are getting to know each other pretty good. But anybody new, it's just feel welcome. We're harmless. We won't bite you. So our icebreaker question today is, tell us briefly about a time when you were affected by somebody else's emotions or felt that someone else was affected by your emotions. Tell us briefly about a time when you were affected by somebody else's emotions or you felt that someone else was affected by your emotions. And I'll kind of start it off. I was thinking about this, and it's hard to pinpoint, anything. I always like to affect other people's emotions by laughing or, bringing up the spirits and stuff. But I was thinking about one time, not too long ago, I was talking to a friend, and he had just been affected by somebody else, and he was very agitated about a situation. And he was telling me about it, and I just kind of started to laugh. And it kind of, he didn't understand why I was laughing, because then I wound up putting into context of everything else that was going on in the situation. And we both realized how ridiculous it was to get upset about it. And the next thing you know, we were both laughing hysterically about how stupid it was that he got upset about it. So that's one, it's like you can take a bad emotion and turn it around into a good one. So anyway, we're going to do this popcorn style. Just anybody that can think of something, give us your story. Tell us what how you affected somebody else or how they affected you. And if I don't hear from somebody in about 10 seconds, I'll call on somebody. So let's go.
I'll save them. So I remember a few years back, I was renting a place, and inside the garage, there was some damage when I took possession of the place. When I went to go back and a couple of years later get the security deposit, they tried to stick me for it and didn't want to give me my security deposit back, which was substantial. And at some point, I hit this place where I was mad, man. I was mad. And then instantly, I saw the person in front of me change. And then I kind of backtracked, and I knew that they were pretty much like only reacting based on my own reaction. And so when I started to like pause for a minute and give that space and backed up and tried to still come to some like middle line, then immediately she went back down. So it was just amazing just to see that happen so quickly and so profoundly.
Yeah, I'll go ahead.
Did you have something, Brandon?
Yeah, well, I'm very bad at funerals. I get sad when everybody else is sad. But I try to make light of the situation, and sometimes I bring light to a bad situation. That's my story.
That's great. It really does work. Dave?
Yeah, it's the situation happened last week. It was a landscaper on property, completely redoing the place, and I came back from shopping and started talking with some of the workers that were doing stuff out front, and the supervisor got really mad at me for stopping them from working by talking to them. I didn't know that because my back was to him, and so he hollers at them to get back to work, and so I said, oh, okay. And then this guy says something that really shocked me. He goes, he never heard that there was a rose bowl because he was working on roses. And he lived in LA his whole life, and he never knew there was a rose bowl. And we thought he was kidding, and it kind of delayed the whole thing. And like, I'm going, you've got to be kidding. You've never heard of a rose? No, he never knew about it, didn't know there was a rose parade. We just couldn't believe it. Like, no, you can't be living here and not know that. And so it delayed the whole work, was kind of joking and laughing. And then the supervisor went off on me like, you got to, how mad he was at me for delaying their work by talking to them. So normally I probably would have confronted him, but I just turned and just smiled and just laughed right along with him. And he just stopped and had to laugh himself. It was like a complete turnaround. And then I walked away, and I saw him the next day, and he was laughing again, and we were laughing about it again. So with me not reacting like what I would have done previously, turned the situation around, and we had a really good connection. So.
See, we can change the world one person at a time. Anybody else?
Yes, I'll tell you about a phone call from my granddaughter last week. She called me on FaceTime on our phones, and she said, Grandma, I'm calling you to show you my new baby. She just had a little girl, and she held her up, and she said, look at her little tiny fingers. Look how sweet she is. And I was so taken. I of course, have my own joy at having a new little great granddaughter, but my granddaughter, the joy she was having, and it was like it was coming through the phone at me, and it stayed with me all day long. Her enjoyment of her new baby and what her face looked like when she told me about her.
I guess I'm feeling compelled to share the opposite side, really. This morning, just had an experience where a friend was very upset. And I can still feel it. It's very painful. I think sometimes it's necessary to, I feel like, okay, I have to feel these emotions that are in my heart and identify them. And right now it's even like racing because I can't believe I'm sharing this, but I haven't been one to identify emotions my whole life because everybody's happy, and that's all I wanted was the happiness, and to really experience sadness and deeper negative feelings. I've realized and come to know that it's okay, and they change. So I'm just sharing something that's very intense, and it's back again. It's like I can feel it. It was like 9 hours ago, but I can feel it again because I just thought about the emotions again and how awful it was. So anyway, thank you for this topic tonight.
Well, it looks like we have our job cut out for us tonight. We're going to lift Teddy's spirits tonight and make sure she's lifted out of it. So who else? Anybody else? Oh, Nancy's here. Hi, Nancy.
I can share something. When I was in college, I was doing a lot of customer service work, and sometimes, well, quite often actually, I would get a phone call, and the person on the other side of the line was very upset, very angry, and being an empath, I was very affected by this, and I would, in the beginning, I would get kind of worked up myself and start arguing or trying to prove something. And then I realized with time that that person on the other side of the line, all they really wanted was to be listened to. And once I started doing that and just quietly listening to them, I would see that they felt cared for, and their emotion turned around, and I wasn't kind of brought into all that anger and frustration. So that taught me the importance of listening.
Yeah, it's a skill to be able to diffuse somebody else's emotions when they're coming at you like that. Anybody else? Did you hear the question, Nancy? Tell us briefly about a time when you were affected by somebody else's emotions or felt that someone was affected by your emotions.
There's oftentimes people are affected by my emotions because of the head injury and the trouble I have dealing with that, and that it's very hard for people who love me. Like I was talking about it with my cousin tonight. I heard my little brother going on about how his wife and kids, and they have 3 cats now and 4 dogs and all of this. And I was crying to my cousin because I said, I got screwed out of this. I mean, I was married for 14 years, but that really hurts. So he gets affected by it, but he's cool. He knows to validate me. And like Teddy, of course, you're feeling those feelings now every time you think of it. And the trick is to get yourself out of the loop, because the more you think of it, the more right you are and the wronger the other person was. Just get out of the loop. I get out of the loop, sister. And you know what, also? It's true. Even my ex-husband said to me, Nancy, forgive your mother. And I'm like, the little fucker. All right, I am doing that. And he's like, Nancy, forgive her. But you know what's cool is when you do, you realize, like, I may have just done something horrible to you, but I'm walking around going, oh, la da da da, you know, whatever. And you're furious. So what I'm saying is, you know, it is going to hurt to think about it, but stop the loop, Teddy, get out of the loop. And I love your classes, period.
Thanks, Nancy. We love Nancy. Oh, I think it's time to move on to our next segment. We're going to watch a video now. Am I introducing this?
Yep.
Okay. This is a video that was made by a friend, and it talks about emotions and technically how it really how emotions are contagious. And so, Rano, do you want to start rolling the tape there?
The disaster distress helpline provided by the federal government has seen an 891% spike in calls since the coronavirus lockdowns began in February. Why is this having such an alarming impact on people's mental health, and what can we do about it? The anxiety we're feeling is not just because we fear for our health and well-being and that of our family and friends. It's not just because TV no longer fulfills us. It's not just withdrawal symptoms from the change of routine or because we can't go where we want to and do what we please. It's because everyone else is feeling all these things and all of us are connected. Always have been, always will be. And coronavirus is only making this more tangible. Across the globe, for the first time in history, we partake of a single problem, a common state, like an illness overtaking an entire body. And it doesn't matter to which organ we belong, whether Italian, American, or Chinese. Even more contagious than the virus itself, the related emotional and mental states are swirling through our global system, influencing us all. And we all feel them to an extent. If we feel sad, it's because there's sadness in the human system to which we are connected. If we feel anxious, there's anxiety out there in the world somewhere, but the state is shared among us like files over the internet. Some of us feel like now there are problems in our families, and this gives us angst. But our family just picks up on the problems in our global family, like a modem receiving a signal. The torpor and boredom we feel is part of a common state we're all going through. So what should the distress helpline workers tell callers to do personally about the contagion of fear, anxiety, and boredom, and family conflict ricocheting through the human system of connections? How do we treat the symptoms of withdrawal from our previous lives? How do we fill the emptiness brought by show after show? And the longing to return to the old life simply because it's the only other life we know. They should be told that coronavirus has already caused us to take the first step towards a much better world. The first step is to stop, calm down, have a seat. We don't actually need to run around. In general, people are not made in order to run around all the time the way we were. Let go of the way things were and think of how they might be in a life different than the one we created for ourselves, unwittingly and truly against our own will and benefit. This virus can help us reassess what we're living for and see that it gets better from here, from simply coming to a stop in our egoistic relationships with those other parts to which we are connected. There's a different kind of society that's possible, one in which we influence the connected parts of our human system with positive states, a feeling of good global connection. Anxiety and distress are feelings of detachment from that system, and connection is the cure.
Great. Okay, so with that, we're going to move into our main course, which is our roundtable discussion, of course. We'll just quickly go over the etiquette. Here we go. Okay, so let's remember that we're here to build a space of support, love, care, and warmth. Everyone is equal and very important. We go around the table and speak briefly and on topic, and we listen attentively. Right? So just like the topic today is saying, is how we're affecting one another. And that's really, I mean, that's really what these rules are about, right? Is how we're affecting each other. If we're trying to create this, this open circle of sharing where we're trying to bring those puzzle pieces together to create this bigger picture than any one of our parts, then it's, we need these kind of rules of etiquette to help us understand how we're affecting each other. So we're going to move into our first question. We have two questions as usual. And the first question is, how can I affect others positively? Or if I'm asking you, how can you affect others positively? I'm going to start us out. I knew this was going to come up because it had to. I went through a very kind of traumatic experience today. This morning I was going to the grocery store to pick up milk, and I was driving the car. The store is like literally 5 minutes from my house. I'm driving on the street, and suddenly out of nowhere, a child on a bike comes down a ramp at like 60 miles an hour and hits right at the front of my car. And it was just that moment. I mean, it was horrific. So I stopped the car and I got out. Sorry, Nancy. He was okay. He was okay, thank God. He wasn't as little of a kid as I thought that he was. He was actually 14, but he was riding a really small bike, and he was really small for his age. I think he had some like genetic abnormality. He wasn't like a regularly developed 14-year-old. And he didn't speak English very well, and he was down on the floor, and there were a whole bunch of people around, and everybody was just standing there with their cell phones in their hands, and I just started screaming to everybody, call 911. Everybody was just standing there, like, so finally got a few people to call 911, and then I got down on the floor with him and just was trying to guide him to breathe, and he was kind of like freaking out, and he was trying to get up, and then his father comes running down the block and starts screaming at him in Arabic, like yelling at him, and like as if he's gonna hit him. And the boy like kind of gets up and starts crying, "No, Daddy, don't hit me, Daddy, don't hit me." And I had to like break it up, and I was like, do not yell at him. He was just injured. We need to now, if you can speak to him and explain to him what I'm going to guide you through and bring him through a breathing exercise. And I brought him, like, got his father to calm down and explained to him how to do long, deep breathing. I got one of the other women there to give us a bottle of water, and I gave the kids some water, and he was screaming, "I don't want to go to the hospital." And, you know, I just was kind of like calming. Somebody else came out and started yelling like, "Oh, you did this again," or so like apparently the kid has an issue with this or something. But he was getting upset every time somebody else was coming over and yelling at him, and it was like I had to completely remove myself from the shock that I was experiencing and try to like quell everybody else. And you know, I think it helped as much as possible. I think it helped to, you know, keep everything calm until the fire department got there and the police got there. So anyway, that was my way of positively affecting something that could have had a really bad outcome.
Was he wearing a helmet? I'm sorry, I'm interrupting.
He was not wearing a helmet. No, he obviously like didn't know what he was doing and just went down this ramp. It was like a parking garage with a ramp.
The father should get him a helmet. instead of yelling at him.
The kid shouldn't be riding a bike. I mean, he wasn't in a state. He's not in a state to be riding a bike on his own. Okay, so let's take let's squeeze the positive out of that. And I would love to hear from Pamela. So the question again is, how can you affect others positively?
I had an opposite situation where it was kind of a bouncing back and forth early this afternoon between me being negative, then the person being positive, and then me becoming positive. So not exactly what you were asking, but sort of. I was dreading having to, so my mom passed away this past December. It's very unfortunate, 2-year battle with lung cancer. And we moved, thankfully, my dad into a 62 plus senior living, which was wonderful. That was August 1st. So it feels like it's been these steps of things that I didn't want to face. And then once it happened, you know, I became light again. So this having to have all my mom's stuff and so much of it beautiful, I had contacted a consignment shop locally and scheduled it for last week. And then we had that terrible storm and I didn't have power for 4 days. So I kind of took it as a sign because I really didn't want to go through this next exercise, but rescheduled it for 11 a.m. this morning. And the woman came by and I had gotten it was like 3 big boxes of clothes. And she came in and clearly, she does this for a living. So I was just dreading it. And, and she could tell. I was like, I just want to, you can even take this and go through. She was like, no. She was like, and she was just so light and airy. And I said, I just don't want to go through this. I would appreciate it maybe if you could just take it. And she was like, no, we're going to honor your mom. She was like, this is really honoring her. And she just really, and I said to her, I was like, clearly you've done this before and you must encounter. She was like, yeah, unfortunately, but she's definitely the right person for the job. One, because it's the kind of a funky consignment shop. And my mom was kind of funky in the way she dressed. And she wound up taking, I want to say like half of it. And again, like I said, I just did not want to do it. So, and her attitude and her lightness and just re-explaining how to think about the situation really changed the way my attitude was. And then, now that it's done and, at least halfway done, I probably wouldn't have come on the call today, but I just felt so much better about having gone through this and meeting someone wonderful who changed my attitude. So not exactly what you were looking for, but really talk about someone affecting my attitude today. It really was a turnaround. I feel so much better that I'm grateful for meeting this girl. And I felt like in some way I honored my mom by taking the time to kind of go through all her clothes, and it'll go to she'll be thrilled. Like if hopefully she's watching from somewhere, because like I've shopped at this consignment shop. It's such a groovy place, and she would be thrilled to know some of her things are going to go to this place and people are going to wear her clothes and be happy. And that's my story.
That's a great story, Pamela. I really appreciate that. Thank you. Nancy, how about you? So how can you affect others positively?
When you don't absorb their anger, you don't absorb their frustration. Say there's somebody, you can affect somebody positively. This has happened to me this morning. I have an aide, because what happens is I get exhausted and stuff like that. So she was furious this morning because she's not a morning person. And just put it this way, it's easier. She was in a bad mood. She said, whatever. And then she said, well, I'm just leaving. I'm leaving. And I said, okay, do whatever you have to do. Let's go. And what I did was I just talked right with her as I usually did. Like, all right, will you come with, figure out, wait, do I need 2 of these? I always get too many bananas, whatever. And she's going, put 2 in that. And I'm following her instructions completely. By the time we got out of, I'm like, by the time we got out of the supermarket, she's amazing. I can not see that well out of my left eye at a certain thing. We're standing at the elevator and she goes, oh, someone got a printer. And I go, Jesus, Shireen, it's mine. How the hell do you do that? And we were right back. I just did not play into her thing. And I think that's how you can affect someone positively.
Thank you, Nancy. That's a really good, I think that's something that most of us, I think.
And she also set up the friggin' printer. I mean, online, Jesus. Yeah, okay.
Okay, I'd like to hear from at least 2 more people for this question. Dr. Marlene, how about you?
I guess it's interesting because that's what I do in my profession. As a psychologist, and I'm certified in pain management already, physical pain. That's what I've been working with predominantly, is the anxieties and the fears that are going through most of my patients during this COVID pandemic. And they come to me and I'm very light, I'm lighthearted, and I turn every negative into a positive. And I guess my objective is to teach my patients that every negative has a positive, the opposite side of the coin. And I reach for their creativity in what could be fun, what could be good, what would they like to do, how can they do it now? And I guess I work with clinical hypnosis, so I actually can get into their minds and help them decide for themselves and work things out for themselves in a positive way. As I'm listening to everyone, everyone has issues, obviously, in day-to-day living. And this has just made day-to-day living much more isolated for all of us. And as that film said, connection is where it's at. And we can all decide how are we going to get connected, where most want to get connected outside rather than Zooming. I have patients who won't Zoom. I'm seeing them in my backyard because I have to. I won't bring them into my home or my home office. So I have set up my backyard. Of course, it's dependent on the weather. So therefore, I'm building a sunroom. Again, going forward in how I'm going to be helping people. And what I have found is when I help people, they teach me. Every patient I have touches me and teaches me, even though I've learned to separate. I still take in all the foibles and the pains. And then we have laughter. We always end in laughter. I'll turn it around and I mean, you'll be laughing with tears. Of course, I think my sense of humor, basically, which you're not hearing now, I think that that's important in life. You have to laugh. You have to have a sense of humor. You have to realize that today is today, but tomorrow is another day, and you haven't experienced it yet. So you haven't the foggiest, and you make it up. And that's all. I'm saying a lot. I don't want to say anymore. That's it. And done. Next.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, so this was amazing. I think we got like a very wide array. So let's go to the second question. Second question, what will the world look like if we all spread good emotions? So let's put our like imagine caps on. I would love ideally to hear from 5 or 6 different people. So we only have about 5 minutes left. So can everybody make sure to speak in less than 1 minute? Okay. So just be mindful of the time. Mary, could we hear from you? So, what would the world look like if we all spread good emotions?
Wow. It's hard to imagine, but I think it would be the opposite of what we have now. Right now, we have meanness, we have hate and greed, and we're in a world crisis. The basic law of caring about everybody else, not doing to somebody what you don't want them to do to you, and caring for other people. I mean, it would be the Garden of Eden, wouldn't it? It would be a very beautiful place for all of us if we change to the opposite of what we have now.
Thank you, Mary. Jenna, how about you? What will the world look like if we all spread good emotions?
I think the world, the world would look like, people interacting and understanding and communicating, and I think it would be a bright, happier place. I feel like, it's hard to put in words what I'm imagining in my head without it sounding like a fairy tale, but yeah, that's what I want to say.
Thank you. Alana.
Yeah, it's really, I don't know, it's interesting how we affect like really so strong. It's, I can say that I didn't realize, I think like some years ago that how much we are affected by others' emotions. But I can say about myself really that I know it works like a magic if I'm not in a good mood or whatever it is, and if I'm the best thing to do is to just connect with my friends, just to go to them. Right now it's not possible, so to talk to them or whatever, and just be more like connect to them, connect to where they are, and then you get out of yourself of like where you are sitting and you don't see any solution to your issues, problems, whatever, and you already in another place, much better one. And if we can do it intentionally, really, like if you see somebody that's like not in a good place, not in the mood, depressed, whatever it is, really, even if we don't feel like, but like really affect him with good emotions, with some inspiration, whatever, it can be amazing.
Thank you, Alana. I love your positivity. Brandon, how about you? What would the world look like if we all spread good emotions?
I think everybody said it best already. Opposite of greed and selfishness, interacting and understanding, bright and happy places, more connection, which is basically love and caring for everybody, which means no more crime, no more arguing with people. That's basically what I think.
Thank you, Brandon. How about John?
It's a great question. I think I can really relate to what Brandon was saying, that it's just a different reality would emerge from that completely, because it's the flip of what's happening right now. And there's something in us that wants to think it's impossible, but it really just starts with just spreading like what we're doing right now. And out of that comes like a ripple effect that starts to impact the entire system, like we learned in the video. And then from that, changes are made. They're small changes at a time end up to a large sum that benefit humanity as a whole. And that's where we find our relief, our salvation, I think.
Thank you, John. And then last, Patrice.
Yeah, what can I add to that? I feel like it would be a really, really inspirational place if we were all, if everybody was doing their best to make everyone else feel good. I can't imagine that it would be anything less than paradise, as someone else already mentioned. You know, when I get up in the morning, I'm generally a morning person, but sometimes I get up really grumpy. Like if I just got the baby back to sleep, just fell asleep, and the rest of the kids get up the moment I fall asleep, I'm not up in such a good mood. But if I remember every time that if I greet them with the biggest smile on my face, like I hadn't seen them in a month and I'm so happy to see them, almost immediately the grin that is returned to me immediately lifts me out of whatever grumpy state and zombie state I might be in. And we're then, you know, we're rapping with each other and bouncing off each other and helping each other feel good.
Thank you, Patrice. I was just thinking, you know, the question's an interesting one now about how we can spread good emotions. I was just thinking, you know, that the coronavirus has taught us this, like, you know, what our moms always said of like, if you don't have anything good to say, don't say anything at all. Like, I feel like the coronavirus has kind of taught us that as well. Like, sometimes not seeing people or wearing a mask that might not seem the friendliest is actually like the nicest thing that you can do for people, a way to really care for each other. And a lot of your answers also have, it makes you think differently than we would normally think, really, about how, you know, sometimes it's not the most obvious way of doing something good for people, but sometimes just like slipping out if you're, you know, if you're not going to be the best of yourself in a situation, you know, there's different ways of being positive for one another. So I think now we have another song by our wonderful Patrice.
Okay, well, after that great circle, I think this song requires no introduction and kind of pretty much speaks to everything that we've been imagining. I see trees of green, red roses too. I see them bloom for me and you. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. I see skies of blue and clouds of white, bright, blessed day, and dark, sacred night. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. The colors of the rainbow, so pretty in the sky, are also on the faces of the people going by. I see friends shaking hands, saying, how do you do? They're really saying, I love you. I hear babies cry. I watch them grow. They'll learn much more than I'll ever know. And I think to myself, what a wonderful world. Yes, I think to myself, what a wonderful world.
rounds up the whole evening, really. That's amazing. But we have one more thing we're going to do together. We usually do impressions, but we're going to do it in a different way. We're going to do a lightning round. So we're going to name an emotion that you felt this evening, one word, and we're going to try not to repeat ourselves. So we're not going to try, we're going to try to follow each other very quickly. That's why it's lightning round. Let's see if we can do this. So just quickly, you don't have to wait to be called. Just when you have that space, say an emotion you felt this evening. One word. I'll start. Happy.
Joy. Joy.
Calm.
Like.
Connection.
Peaceful.
Contented.
Inspiration.
Uplifted.
Upliftment.
Sweetness.
Love.
Sorry, hopeful.
Mary. With an E.
Trust.
Calm.
Openness.
Safety.
Loving.
Amazement.
Togetherness.
Warmth.
Unity.
Gary made me happy. Feel good.
Sharing.
Healing.
Usually I make Nancy cry.
You kind of are making me want to cry. You
From,
are.
From happiness, right, Nancy?
No, but you know what? The way he just said that, sometimes I just feel so left out, and he so like cued into who I am, and he just goes with it. And I just think it's a very nice thing. Thank you. It really made me feel good. And you making those videos, damn it, I didn't know you were making them. I know not tonight, but whew, those are nice videos.
He did make it tonight, right, Gary? You produced that, no?
Gianni.
Gianni, that's right. I'm sorry. You're right. Well, does anybody want to just throw a couple more words in? It's the end of the evening, unfortunately.
Blissful.
Whoa, girl, good.
Gratitude.
Content.
Well, I was going to say mirror neurons. That's what I feel. I felt a lot of happiness, sadness. We went through a whole litany of emotions here, truly. I thought it was all going to be like uplifting, everybody happy, but we went deep, we went far, and I think we have something we could take into the week. And I learned a lot tonight. I learned a lot about the people that were here and different techniques we could try. And I see that we all are connected. Even though we all look different, we all have the same emotion. We all want love and happiness. And let's try to make the world a different place by knowing that we are the same with these mirror neurons, and we just have to communicate something a different way than it's happening now. So I wanted to thank everybody for coming tonight. I wanted to mention a couple things to follow us on Instagram. We have a new page there. Rana's going to show. Yep. We have Instagram, which is really cool. They're putting together graphics for everything that you guys said, like the impressions just now, like love, all these feelings that we felt. They put a graphic to that. So if you want to follow us on Instagram, that would be great. We also have a new Facebook page. We're on Meetup. A lot of friends that are here come through that way. We are on YouTube, and well, it's listed here. So I wanted to thank everybody again, and we will see you next week. And have a wonderful night. Thanks again.
Oh, and one last thing. One last thing.
The links are in the chat if you want want to click on them and save them to your device, you can access them on the chat.
And you can see all the past episodes on YouTube.
You can?
Yes.
I don't even know how to do Instagram.
You stay with us long as you'll figure it out. We'll teach you.
Or that Twitter. Oh, you could both. All right.
All right.
Thank you.
Guys. You made me feel good. Bye, you guys.
Bye, everybody.
Thank you.
Bye, everybody. Thank you, everybody.
Excellent.
Thank you.